what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to take a look at 4 do's and don'ts for the new rank system to hopefully get you guys to masters as quickly as possible, but not only that, just to not tilt and then maybe see what mistakes you're maybe making in ranked and just to put you on the right path. So just before we get into the tips, then make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Over 50% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. We've got a tier list, we've got all sorts coming next week, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the future content. Anyways, we're going to be starting off with the do's then, and the big one for me, which is actually, I don't know, this is very underrated, I think, is to literally just focus on drafting your higher level brawlers, in particular hyperchargers. So now in the draft system, you can sort by 3 different ways, like by sorting it by brawler is pretty good because it's alphabetical, but the big one for me is just literally by your power level. And what this does, of course, it boosts your, well, it puts at the beginning your power 11 brawlers, your power 10 brawlers, but not about your hypercharged brawlers. That's the big thing. Of course, on my maxed account, I have all power 11 brawlers, of course, but it puts the hypercharged brawlers at the start. And those are the brawlers I want to focus on the most, because hypercharge, even though it got nerfed, it still is one of the best things in the game, easily, right? Like, there's only, what, a third of the brawlers that have a hypercharge and a purple button, which more often than not will lead to you just overwhelmingly winning a 1v1 interaction, and that could mean you're going to score a goal in Brawl, or you're going to be able to kill the enemy gem carrier, etc. So hypercharge is just really important, and with those 20 seconds, you haven't got a lot of time to think, so you can always kind of be safe in picking a hypercharged brawler. A lot of the top meta brawlers do have a hypercharge. You have a look at literally top brawlers in the game right now. Charlie, Leon, Cordelia, Spike. There's just so many top brawlers. Pearl, Colette. There's so many that have hypercharge. So for me, that's a really big one, especially if you're free to play as well. I just do this anyway because, of course, especially with all the power changes as well, changing it so, you know, it's more noticeable from power 11 to power 10. You're going to be making sure you're sorting your brawlers by this for sure. The next do, which I definitely recommend and which a lot of pro players are doing at the moment, is to duo queue in ranked. So you might think, why is this such a big deal? So the reason why is because if you're actually playing as a team, you're going to face more than likely off against other teams. That's just how the matchmaking algorithm works. And if you're really trying to push high, you don't really want to be facing off against a full stack pro team, even me myself. Like, I'm probably not going to win that, right? So the best probably bet is to go with a duo or random if you're looking to gain elo pretty fast. Duo is more safe because it's like a safety net, especially if you've got a good teammate. You can see in the gameplay, I've got KC. He's one of the best players in the world and my good friend. We always play well together. So if I'm constantly queuing up with KC, I know that I can trust him. I know what brawlers he's good with. He knows what brawlers I'm good with, and we don't have to worry about that. We just have got to worry about our random. But the good thing as well is that you'll be matching up against fellow randoms as well, or duo queues, and the matchmaking is much faster, it's much fairer, and you have a much better chance of winning. So a lot of people are using this to push really high in rank. So next up on the do's, we have to watch pro players and content creators play the new rank system, in particular on live if possible. So that's whether if you watch the VOD back and just skip through all the matchmaking and even the draft sometimes, and just watch the gameplay and try and understand the reason why they go certain lanes, why they go certain picks, why they go certain picks on certain modifiers as well. It's just to get a good understanding. I'll put all the links to all the pro players I could find, whether it's Spanish, whether it's German, in particular English, of course. I'll put it in the description because there's so many of them, which I watch on the side as well. It's a good stance, right? Of course, you know, I'm a decent player. I can get to masters, but I'm nothing like the pro players. They practice for hours and hours. They know draft inside out. So you literally can't learn in a better place than, you know, people like Bobby, for example. He literally got to the world finals. He came 2nd place. That's insane. And he streams live on Twitch every single day. So of course you're going to learn the most if you watch him. There's other of course streamers as well. Drage, Semantic, we've got Composure, we've got some Spanish ones like Boss and Chaos, we've got Secondbest, Chino and Zhar, some NA ones. There's just so many pros that you can learn from. And for me, it's just invaluable because also you're going to watch top tier gameplay if you're not watching the pros. So on the do list, we have to focus up during draft, and in particular look at the map and modify. So this might sound so simple, but at the same time, I'm playing Legendary 2 right now, literally some of the best ranked, and people don't understand the concept of certain modifiers still. I'll give some guys a benefit of the doubt, especially if the first few days as they figure out what's good in certain modifiers, but especially if you're high up in elo, you should know what by now, especially time detonation. How don't you know to go longer range brawlers, for example? I've seen so many people just pick a short range brawler, I don't know, like Sandy or Ems, and it might be good in the first 20 seconds, but you know, games last over 2 minutes. You know, if you're playing Brawl, for example, yeah, you might be able to get some good pressure in the early engagements, but the map will open up after 45 seconds, a minute, and then you're screwed. So again, I did a ranked guide yesterday to really help you guys understand what picks are good on certain maps and modifiers, but it's more in modifiers now. Like, I feel like people should get the gist of modifiers and what's good and bad. But you know, if you only have 20 seconds to draft, if you're actually playing ranked before you get to diamond, you only have 20 seconds, so you've got to kind of panic a little bit. But if the draft is involving and each player has 20 seconds to pick, you should at least theorize maybe a couple of brawlers that you can pick that are good on that modifier. There should be no reason that you're just picking some really dumb picks. So for me, make sure to focus up, don't panic, and use the time wise. So now moving on to the don'ts, and these are the ones that really grind my gears, and I'm seeing a lot of complaints on Twitter, and of course it's the number one don't. Just please don't do this. It's to draft your favorite brawler no matter the map or mode. So there's 2 brawler mains I'm talking to in particular. It's you Dyna mains out there and Edgar mains. You know, both of those brawlers can be good in the right scenario. I think maybe up until, I don't know, gold, you're probably going to get away with just brainlessly picking these brawlers, because at the end of the day, you probably have a hyper charge to bail you out. But there's just so many people still. I'm playing it like diamond on my mini account, and they're just picking Edgar and shooting star. You can't win. There's no chance. You might be able to get a kill, but you're not going to be able to get out with a kill with a brawler like Edgar, for example. And even if they have them like a power 9 brawler, they're just insta-locking Dynamite or Edgar. If you want to play your favorite brawler, like, I guess you can go it in ranked, but at the same time, there's ladder, for example. You can just play for fun on ladder. Ranked, you're supposed to be trying to pick the most meta brawlers, so why are you just picking a power 9 Dynamite? I don't understand, and people are definitely going through this right now. So please, just pick a good brawler. So next up on the don't list, we have to not pick sharpshooters on quickfire. There's of course a couple of brawlers that you can still pick, like Piper and Nanny, but the rest of them, I think in particular, it's Brock. It's just been really making me angry. You've probably been watching my streams and you can agree on this. People keep going certain brawlers that are just not boosted up by quickfire. I know that some of them are a little bit glitched, like Miko, Mortis, Tick, but they still think these brawlers are good. Just stop going them. Surely by now you've seen enough clips on Twitter or just played enough games to realize that the multiple projectile brawlers are the best on quickfire. Of course, there's some exceptions. Maybe if you're playing on a really long range map, then you probably still want to go some sharpshooters, but other than that, just stop going Brock every single time. I say that, and I probably won with Brock every single time, but his ammo doesn't really get boosted or affected. So just please look at a modifier and pick a good brawler. Next up on the don't list is to don't dodge. No matter the situation, just please don't dodge. So one big reason is, of course, your reputation is going to go down and you might end up getting banned from ranks for a while. And in particular, I think you can actually learn a few things by not dodging, even if your teammate, like, I don't think I've ever dodged in my life, literally ever. Even if my teammates picked, I don't know, in the old Brawl system, like a power 1 brawler, if you're watching my streams, I just play it. Because, especially nowadays, you can just literally end the game and then report them for griefing, etc. But sometimes, you know, you might just be like your random 5-year-old kid who doesn't understand the meta, but they might be able to learn something if they go their power 5 Frank and they look at the endgame stats and see that they've got 0 kills and 8 deaths. Surely something might clock on eventually. I mean, to me, I just think as long as the person is playing the game, what can you really do at the end of the day? I don't think dodging is a good concept. You shouldn't be able to just manipulate the system by exiting out of matchmaking. Just go with it, guys. Trust me, you can benefit a lot. Maybe you can just learn yourself on how to hard carry, you know, in a 2v3 or a 1v3 situation. Believe it or not, that will improve you as a player. There's ways to improve as a player in ranked, and I just don't think dodging is just a cop-out. Just please don't do it. So the last one on the don't list is to not pick brawlers that you are bad with. So I make this mistake quite a lot on streams where, you know, for example, I know for certain that, I don't know, like Primo or Mortis is a good matchup against some brawlers, but, you know, I'll force it, I'll go it, and because I'm terrible with those brawlers, they'll end up countering me. Of course, you got to make sure that you're comfortable first and foremost. You know, in your head, you know certain brawlers that you're good with. For example, I'm good with snipers. If I play any type of aggro on stream, I'm just terrible with them. So I try and avoid them as much as possible. But that's, of course, for the sake of my teammates as well, because we want to win, right? I can't just force myself onto a terrible brawler. One good way to learn, of course, you're never going to learn how to play the brawler if you don't play it. But I think the best way is just to play it in a more casual setting on ladder, get used to it. And it's you actually play games really fast with that brawler. That's the way I learn. You know, for example, if I want to learn with Mortis, I'll just push that brawler to rank 35 or rank 30, wherever it may be. But that's going to help you improve the most, not just by playing some random troll brawler like Mortis on ranked. I mean, it can be good as the last pick, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, I'd rather just pick a brawler I'm confident with and know that I can at least do some work, rather than just go a troll pick, which might actually be good, but not for you. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. So this is just some do's and don'ts, which I've just tried to pick up on as I've been pushing up to help you guys as much as possible. You know, some of these aren't rocket science, but at the same time, it's a mistake that a lot of my randoms are getting. Pretty much every single lobby, some of my randoms are making this mistake, even at Legendary 2. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.